Welcome to the Banya,
Thanks
Charlie.
for having me.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We've got Dana Lundquist today and our guest of honor, Charlie Browntown. Hit me with your last name again?
Lyon.
Lyon. Oh, yeah. Dude. Dope name. Charlie Lyon.
Everyone thinks it's French and goes with Lyon or throws an S on it, but it's Scottish. Lyon.
Okay. Lyon. Yeah. My last name is Manuel, so obviously I get a lot of whatever, but I'm from Cornwall, or my people are. So
Manuel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I get all my males
Lucas
in
Manuel.
Yeah. Cornish as fuck.
Yeah.
That's weird. Your name's Manuel, you get Spanish or male.
Yeah, weird, right?
Yeah, last name's Lundquist. I don't get any Swedish mail though.
Right. Well,
I wish.
One of the marketing demographics are on that.
Yeah, although I do get a lot of stuff from IKEA, so maybe that's it.
Yeah,
that's where it's paying
That's
off.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, welcome, Charlie.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, glad you could join us.
Sweet. Well, so little bit of an intro. Did you get your blue belt yet?
No.
Oh,
No.
Jesus.
Hopefully next
talk about
promotion.
sandbagging. So Charlie's a white belt, but he should be a blue belt for sure.
We're getting there.
As far as skill levels go, obviously very dedicated. You're always in the room. You were one of the very few / only to come into the wrestling room. So tackle that beast. So yeah, dude, you're getting after it and it shows. Your jiu-jitsu is super good.
I appreciate it. It's been fun, and then especially at Grey Wolf or at Aries now, Aries PV, everybody was so willing to teach from the beginning. I came in and it was overwhelming at the beginning just how much you don't know. But everybody that I rolled with just was, hey, do this, try this, and it made a huge difference.
Almost to an annoying fault.
yeah, but no, it helps. It helps. I feel like when you have that many people willing to teach you, it's not like you're only learning from having the teacher's eyes on you. Everyone's willing to volunteer stuff to help.
Yeah, well, at best we get 30 minutes of technique, and there's just a lifetime of shit to learn. So truly, what can you can't expect to get it all. I mean, literally this morning, learning some serious day one fundamental shit that I just had never seen, a couple years into it, you can't, there's just not enough time in the world to see it all and teach it all.
I have all these clips saved on YouTube and Instagram of I want to look at this, and it keeps growing faster than I could ever get to all the...
That happens.
Yeah,
I remember the first time we met, I showed up to, I think I was picking up a gi that Bo had left at the gym. And I'd never met you there. You were just there. You were maybe a couple months in. And it's I'll get a roll in.
Yeah.
And we rolled, and I was like, holy shit, dude. Who's this white belt? First of all, you're a beast. You're, huge, 6'3", something like that?
Yep, 6'3".
So, 6'3", jacked.
Yeah, I was excited. I was like, man, he's going to be awesome. And this was probably 9 months ago, something like that, or whenever it was. It was early. So.
Yeah, we rolled early on, and then we had a bit of a break where we didn't see each other for a bit.
You were going to be a terrifying black belt when that day comes.
I hope so.
So your body type, first of all, you're lean as hell at 215-ish, right? I mean, just you're long, you got all the boxes checked to just be a straight up killer. So I'm looking forward to seeing that follow through.
Yeah, I'm excited to add some of those technical pieces and close up some of those holes in my game right now.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No. But it is cool to see that though, right? Where it's a more athletic person there probably isn't, and for you to technique is a huge part of success though in jiu-jitsu. So it's rad to you're gonna combine those two, but it's cool to see that, it's not all strength and everything,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I felt like I had to learn that pretty early on, because if I only rolled with big guys, you don't have rolls every day, right? And we all can put in some heavy rolls on each other too, but sometimes when if it's someone smaller, I'm like, okay, where can I try and pass technically? Because it doesn't do anything for me or them if I'm just going to put all my weight on someone significantly smaller than me.
Right.
And, think that was a good lesson, and I just want to be known as someone who's safe to roll with for anybody. You know, like that's the goal, is make sure that anyone feels comfortable.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't really think about it that way, actually. Yeah, as far as like partner options, you big guys are a little bit more limited, I guess, on like, because it's not as fun for me, at least, when like I have to go with somebody really tiny, you know, because you are more you're concerned with like, all right, I'm gonna be careful with them, you know, you can't just like do your thing. So I guess it stunts. Whereas like a little guy, they don't have to think about it. They can just kind of
attack how they want to.
Yeah, just, you know, do all their stuff. So
well, of course, forces you to focus on technique like you are, which you're already thinking about, which is great. I mean, that's how you're going to really excel, because you may not be able to train against, you know, guys your size all the time, but that technique, having to use the techniques against smaller guys, is going to help you in competition when you do go against bigger guys, because if bigger guys have a bunch of other big guys to train with, they're used to that, then they don't necessarily develop the technique quite as easily. So it's good to have that mindset. And I mean, the foundation of like Brendan's class, it's all big guys like your size, which was nice to start there. I know you're not able to go to as many of those anymore, but that foundation to know like how to move in that way, and he's so methodical and like smooth and fluid with everything he does, even though he is a bigger guy. So it's good to learn that.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have a pretty good core of big guys in the 10, and so heavy rolls. But yeah, with Brendan being super technical, and it's cool to watch him teach, because you can see how much he sees the beauty in what he's doing, and how intricate, and again, just the beauty of the moves, and it's fun to learn that, because you can see when he's really.
He's passionate. God, it's amazing. Yeah,
it's so fun. It's so fun.
And even just talking through a technique, and like how, like when I've been coached by him, talking through the technique that he's doing, like, here, this is why we do this, and he'll expand on that a lot more, and you can see in his eyes and like how passionate and how much he loves it. It's really cool, and to know that having a coach that loves it that much, like, it makes you want to be better, not just for yourself but for your coach as well, which is great.
Yeah,
that's right. That was so outside. I was just kind of my question about the 10 a.m. class was kind of just like, fill us in on what goes on in there. Like, I've done one, and it was a no-gi, and it was like a couple years ago. So how's that class? Have we had a 10? I guess. Yeah, we've had a 10. Well, I mean, besides Coach Brendan.
Billy.
Yeah,
Billy was 10 for a while. He's changed his schedule a little bit. 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. Brendan, with his background, both with jiu-jitsu and fighting, is we always start with takedowns. We always have some sequence that we're working on. And we've been fortunate. We've had, have you guys met, I call him Judo Brian, because I don't know his last name.
Yeah, Brian.
A big black belt in jiu-jitsu and judo.
We have guests.
Hi, friends. So we have a combined focus on some wrestling, some judo, and some just general takedowns that are gi, no gi. And we always start takedowns and then get into our technique, and then we usually, a lot of our crew doesn't have to leave right at that 11 o'clock mark, so we kind of push the technique a little bit later, and then some rounds, hit last 10 minutes and then on. So it's a fun class.
Yeah. So is Brian still around then? I haven't seen him in a while.
He comes in every once in a while. Okay. He travels quite a bit for work, and so his schedule is limited. But he is tough to roll with. So whenever we roll, he comes out arms straight. He gives me whatever grips I want. I try to get something, and I usually get tossed at some point. But we're extending it. It's the amount of time on our feet, so I'm trying to just avoid them.
You just reminded me of something I've got to do tomorrow morning. anyways.
Yeah, a surprise for class.
Yeah. Mateus just showed us a throw. It was you grab the same side sleeve and the cross collar, and then you basically like that arm spin. Kind of you do that motion where you get your hips underneath them and you throw them.
Yeah.
It's more of a toss, but it works from when you are on your ass too. I found out. So
okay.
That's what's hard about it. Like jiu-jitsu though, like even shit that works, like there's too much stuff, you just forget about it and like gotta make it a part of your game, which is like why the live rolling is so important. You just can't, that's what kind of instills it, I think, is like you learn the technique, but then you gotta make it a part of your game by implementing it in the live rolls.
For sure.
Yeah, I've been trying to focus more on whatever we were doing that day, of trying to get into that position in rolls. I mean, if I have something else I'm working on, then I'll do that. But because it is so easy to go to walk out, and I feel like I have a really good grasp on it, and I walk out, go on with my day, and I'm like, I don't remember what we did.
Yeah.
And so at the beginning, I have lost the habit. I need to get back into it. I had a little journal. I was trying to write down all the technical steps of whatever we were learning, and so I could go back later that night. Okay, how do we do that? But time has been tight.
I recommend that as well, and I fall off on it sometimes in writing in the journal to remember it, but it definitely helps solidify that. Even just thinking of it that night, like walking through the steps, it definitely helps to solidify in your mind like what that was.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a small step. Actually implementing it in a roll is best.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And trying it and trying to see where it fails and where it succeeds and what things lead up to that move, whatever it is.
Yeah. Well, and then too, you start to get into this routine and habits of positions that you like to end up into, and I'm catching myself now. I think at the beginning, you're kind of in just survival mode, and then the further you progress on, you start to notice where you're going, and you're like, okay, I know I can get there. Let's try something else. And it's not just like, okay, I have to win this role. It's more so, okay, where can I play around and find new stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so that was a lot of good jiu-jitsu and everything, but let's get a little bit into you too. So, get everybody up to speed on you've had a really great storied soccer career. So fill us in on what all you've done with that.
We'll start from the beginning. Grew up outside Chicago. Played sports, but for whatever reason, soccer kind of landed. And I mean, everyone gets thrown into soccer as a kid, but then when we were playing baseball, funny enough, I always wanted to practice diving catches with my dad. And then I was like, wait, there's a position where you can do this all the time. And so then I stuck with goalkeeper from about 12 years old.
Okay.
Were you always tall, or did you hit like a big spurt?
I was always taller, but then I definitely hit a growth spurt, and that helped. And then most kids don't want a ball kicked at their face, and for whatever reason, I was okay with it. And so, every team is looking for a goalkeeper, so you find playing time and opportunity that way.
Totally.
So played in college, played at Marquette University. Didn't start out how I wanted it to. I had a medical red shirt going into my freshman year. I tore my PCL, my meniscus, and my left knee. Like the week before graduation of high school.
Oh man.
Had that reconstructed, and so had to start over again in college while figuring out school and everything. It was from end to end. It was nearly a 15-month recovery, and and then from there, wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. Got back on the field, didn't earn the starting spot in preseason that sophomore year. Got beat out. Other goalkeeper was playing a lot better. He got the first few games. Team was struggling, so I got put in for a game, and I messed up royally. It was so rough, so many nerves, and just 2 bad goals to concede that game, and didn't see much time. The rest, I got in, either we were way up or way down towards the end of the season. But fortunately, my goalkeeper coach believed in me and was along for the ride and the process. But got the starting job after that. We did really well at Marquette while we were there. Won the Big East Conference a couple times, Big East tournament once, made it to NCAA tournament twice, Sweet 16 once. So it was a good run. And then again, the transition to pros. So yeah, I played professionally after that, and that wasn't an easy transition. I had a really good senior year, but not a really good redshirt senior year, and I had a sports hernia to the point where I couldn't even do a sit-up. Like, I had to pull myself out of bed and, bunch of warm-up medications just to get on the field. Rehabbed in my off-season, was looking for opportunities, got brought into preseason with Seattle Sounders. They drafted me super late in the super draft, and then kept surviving rounds of cuts and got a contract, and
Nice.
that was a semi-guaranteed, so it only locked in like in July of that first year, so I had to ride out, keep making it until then.
Yeah.
Made it through the rest of the year. I was playing with their second team, and then ended up getting re-signed with them that next season. Never made my MLS debut, and so played all of my pro games in the second division, but was a part of Seattle's first team to win an MLS Cup. So we went up to Toronto, won an MLS Cup. Super
Hell
cool.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Take that, Arun.
It was fun. It was fun.
Yeah.
It would have been fun to win in Seattle, but it was good.
Yeah.
Then went to second division team, had a really good year, got an opportunity again to try out for LAFC, their inaugural year. Was kind of on the bench and on their number 3 spot throughout that season. Ended up getting cut at the end of that year. I mean, just contract wasn't picked up, or I didn't have any options. And then was going into off season, didn't have really any good offers on the table, and then some injuries happened, and I got looked at for there's a really weird contract in the MLS called the pool goalkeeper. So a team applies to essentially have you on roster with them, but then you are signed to the league as a whole, so you go wherever you're needed. So Portland had a bunch of injuries. I started there. I acted as a Portland player, and then all of a sudden one day I got a call like, hey, you're going to Philly. I said, okay, how long? Like, don't know, pack your stuff. And I was out the next day, and I ended up being there for 2 weeks, and then came back, and then
Get a U-Haul. 2 weeks.
And then so I rode that out. I was only with one other team that year, and then COVID hit, and then everything shut down, no contracts, nothing. And then once they saw that they could put bubble tournaments together, they like the NBA was doing it, and so we did it down in Orlando too at the same time the MLS did, and so signed me again as a pool player. Bounced around a couple of teams in the tournament and after that, and then but during COVID with all the restrictions, like, I had to go to Dallas after the tournament, and they had to fly me on a private jet with like all of the COVID restrictions, right?
Yeah.
Just to not like get anybody on the team sick.
Sure.
And so I think after that paycheck, that expense, they were like, we're done with the pool program. So I kind of they honored my contract at the end of the year, but I was like, I'm done. This is it. Time to move on.
Okay.
Nice. So
Was
what
that
are you
hard?
doing now? Sorry.
Firefighting.
Firefighter. Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
Of course. Was that hard? Like quit? I mean, you did it your whole life, right?
Yeah, it was a tough transition. It's scary because that's all I knew.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what I was going to do next. I did a degree in biomedical sciences, but that's not like immediately walk into.
Right.
That was for more school. That wasn't for walk into a job.
You gotta like go through the grind to find a job in that field, right? Like a lot of unpaid internships and shit like
research,
that.
or just go back to school, med school, dental school, PA school, PT school, something along those lines. And didn't know what I wanted to do, but yeah, it was hard. Like, and soccer, like unlike other pro sports, is a pretty short day. Like, I think people see pro athletes and think about like it's all day, every day, like film and training.
Yeah.
But with how physically demanding soccer is, with how much guys are running, and for us as goalkeepers, we're diving. Like, training was an hour to hour and a half. We would get a lift in twice a week, depending on game schedule. Film based on either coming off of a game or leading up to a game. So it wasn't like everyday film and stuff. So usually we were in 8 or so in the morning, train, lift, lunch, any other film, or we got cut loose and it was like noon, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock on a late day, and so it was a cool lifestyle for a while. Get to travel on the weekends, and but yeah, it was tough to move on. Scary. I didn't know what else. Like my whole life, I thought I wouldn't be okay without it. So how do you make that jump to that one thing that was with you for so long?
Yeah. You know what I've seen, and I was thinking about this the other day. Like anybody who did athletics at minimum at like the collegiate level and like excelled at the collegiate level, I see those people and they're almost always are successful just because of the drive that you have to go through to get to that level. There's something in you that's already been built that you've got that drive to succeed. And all it just takes is pointing that in whatever direction you want to go, and you decide to go wherever that is, and you're going to be, excellent at what that is.
Yeah.
So it seems to be, pretty common from what I've experienced, at least noticing that professional athletes or even collegiate athletes, again, they have something in them that drives them forward like that. So it's cool to see.
Yeah, and I was thinking about this recently, and it kind of gets harnessed to this love of the game or your sport, whatever it was. You kind of get it. You attach that to this. You get attached to this path, and you get going, but you don't realize that you're learning these skills of how to learn, how to progress, how to set goals, break them down, achieve them, deal with setbacks, and move on. So like initially, it's this love of the game that kind of propels you through it. But then now leaving the game, I feel like I have a little bit of that template of like, okay, I know what I need to do if I want to succeed. This is the blueprint. This is how I follow it.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well,
Life
I think
gamified. Yeah,
absolutely. I think Luke is cooking in here, and I am as well. So let's go get a cold plunge. This episode of the Banya is brought to you by Optimize. Optimize is a health and wellness center run by Jesse Meringue, a fellow training partner of ours. They've got amazing center. They've got your cold plunge, your sauna, the infrared, the hot tub, compression therapy, as well as this PEMF therapy. It's like pulse electromagnetic field. It's amazing. Feels crazy, like you get that electro stim. But the idea is you've got a time in there for an hour to switch between different therapies. You can go from the sauna to the cold plunge to the hot tub. Feels amazing. Luke and I just did that last week, and absolutely, it was incredible. So if you're looking to recover from any sort of athletics or just to feel better, go check out Optimize. And for anybody, the listeners, if you just tell them you heard it on the Banya, they'll give you 50% off your first session. So I believe normally it's $39 for the first session for an hour, so it'll be half that. So go check them out. It's an amazing place.
Yeah, well, let's get into that. I've been recently, like, I never, and maybe your career you're different, but like wrestlers, like, because like we're drug tested so heavily and like performance enhancing stuff was so frowned upon, to the degree where like I think it even like almost hurt me. Like it's almost like the 1980s like DARE program where it's like a little too overboard, you know, where like I wasn't ever into, I had teammates that were for sure, but like I didn't even take like protein powder, like literally.
Oh yeah, you're worried about everything.
No, I wasn't worried about it. I just like, I was like, I don't need that shit. I just need to eat well.
Right.
And like that was as far as I took it, but like looking back, I regret it. And like right now I'm getting into that heavily. It's super fun to mess with like tinctures and stuff and see like, oh, lion's mane, it actually does help my focus, and like actually see the results of like these compounds, you know, and like how they can be beneficial just in like your daily life, let alone as an athlete.
Yeah.
Were you ever into that?
I mean, I was always curious while I was playing of if there was anything that would give me an edge and help. I didn't, for the same reasons, drug tested, was kind of worried. And especially too, with it being my income source, I didn't want to play around with anything too much and take any kind of supplement that would end me up in trouble. But so I did try to optimize as much as I could, diet and recovery, and you know, and the mental side of the game too, of trying to support my game. But I am curious because I've heard stories, whether it's from different extreme sport athletes or other athletes, of what they're doing to, you know, if they are finding benefits with any of the things that they're trying.
Yeah. Yeah, I always, unfortunately, like, I always looked at, like, I wish I would have, like, they offer, like, they had a counselor, like a kind of like somebody you could talk to and stuff, but, like, I always was just like, that's for pussies. Like, I just, like, you know, like, hard-headed kind of shit, you know, where it's like, I wish I would have been a little bit more scientific about, you know, my approach to sport, you know, and, like, actually, like, talk to, like a therapist, you know, like, all right, game plan type stuff. I hated watching film. Like, it was literally just like, I'm gonna put my time in on the mat and, like, and, you know, sauna, like, a couple things that I liked, but, like, I really didn't do any sort of supplementing or, like, anything beyond, like, that with, like, your mind. But looking back, that's probably my biggest regret, is, like, the mental side of things, like, what you could do to, you know, change some of that stuff, you know.
Yeah.
But
I my second year in Seattle, I got connected up with a therapist, and I was trying, and he wasn't directly sports specific, because it just that was who I was able to find, but he had worked with athletes previously, and but I had such bad anxiety around games. Night before games, I'd have reoccurring dreams, like, couldn't show up to the field on time, couldn't put my socks on, like, the warm-up started, like, the game starting, like, I'm missing my opportunity, and I'd wake up exhausted before games and would feel super, super anxious. And that was one thing that, and I think why I still want to compete. I mean, it's fun to compete and test and see your skills in that way, but there's still a part of me that's trying to fix that mindset that I never got over from my playing days of. I went out there, like, thinking that my self-worth was on the line, and I didn't know how to separate that from my performance of, like, this is a job and something that I do. And I wish I almost looked at my career like, playing, like, as if I was playing with house money. Like, I'm lucky to be here. I'm gonna work my ass off. I'm not gonna take anything for granted, but, like, I'm just lucky to be here. And instead of, like, hanging on so tightly, like, fearing that I was going to lose it. And
that's the problem with life in general, is, like, you know, you're the age that you're able to physically do a lot of that stuff, your mind isn't where it is now, right? Like, as a 30-year-old or whatever. Are you 20?
No, just turned 33.
You just turned 33. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, it's like the perspective you have, like, I don't think a lot of 20-year-olds have that. You know what I'm saying? And
no way.
It's a little bit like, you know, it's wasted on the youth, kind of, you know?
It is.
Just worrying about stupid shit that doesn't matter instead of, like, enjoying it and maximizing, you know.
Well, then I'm so interested. I would like to know, you look at some of the college football players or basketball players, you know, playing in front of 100,000, or, you know, March Madness comes on, millions of people. You know, they're 18 through 21 years old. You look at a lot of the professionals in England for soccer, at least, there's a huge push. That 18 to 22, 23 window is huge. Like, I can't imagine being in high school and being able to deal with that. And so I'm always curious of how the guys that do that are able to do it. Because I wasn't able to crack that code. I was way too anxious the whole time.
It's interesting that there's definitely a piece of that where you see some of these athletes that, even if they make it to college, that, like, kind of crack and they don't make it to the pros. And I speak in basketball just because I've just seen that and paid attention to it a little bit. There's that mental toughness to it or something. I don't know, like you're saying, whatever that piece is. I'm not going to claim that I know what it is, but there's something there that makes them succeed, even if they don't have necessarily the skill, or not skill, but just the talent, you know. That mental piece fills in a lot of that. Like, you see some of these guys, just their work ethic that pushes them to go, you know, to the pro level or whatever it is.
And it's that self-belief, like, because there will be a point where you're gonna mess up, like, and you're gonna have a game, it's gonna be embarrassing, there's something, and it's like, how do you show up to your locker room the next day, like, head up, like, knowing that you deserve to be there? Like, you can stand in front of your coach, in front of your teammates next time your number's called, and be like, I'm gonna do this, you know. And that's a, for all the guys, anybody that can do that, it's impressive, and it's not easy.
From interacting with you a little bit, I think you and I probably suffered a little bit from the same thing, which is, like, a lack of you have to be a little crazy to, like, you know, like your self-belief, you gotta kind of, like, truly believe in yourself to a point that's like unreasonable.
Yeah.
What would you call that? I'm
Like a
blanking on the word.
sociopath? Is that
No,
what you're
not a
saying?
sociopath. Just
No,
like,
we've talked about that before. Where it's
Yeah.
like
It's almost, it borders a little borderline on arrogance, like the self-confidence,
Yeah.
like that extends beyond like what's
Right.
exactly true.
yes, and like you're just like such a humble, good person. Like I as I've gotten to know you, I think that like somebody who's a little more balanced suffers in that arena. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Whereas like a lot of the athletes that I grew up with that are fucking crazy, like they tend to do better just because they're literally insane and they're like, yeah, I'm gonna do like. Yeah, I you know,
Just a belief.
Don't want to bring up personal stories or anything, but like, yeah, there's folks that I know that have just like beyond like reason are just like believe in themselves to a point where you're like, dude, you don't even go to this college anymore, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just as one instance, you know, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you almost have to be like, I'm just totally blanking on the word, but just incredibly like, you know, overconfident in yourself, you know, and I definitely was not. Like, I was a realist, I would say, you know, and that hurts you.
I was the first to tell you where I was lacking, like where I could improve, like how that wasn't good enough, and and I had that work ethic to fortunately match that. Like I didn't, you know, that kind of I think buoyed the negative self-talk. You know, I was
delusion. Thank you.
There it is.
So,
yeah.
God damn it.
You're somewhat
have to
delusional.
be delusional to like. I think that's what separates. Like when you're talking about like already the top like 3%. Like that's what separates the, you know, unless you're just a phenom and whatever, you know, like if you're just like not a super physically gifted person, but you're a champion, I think you truly have to be a little bit delusional.
You do. Where, because you hear those quotes like Muhammad Ali or the other greats of like, you know, seeing themselves as the greatest before they were there, and I'm like, I can't in good conscience step on the field thinking I'm the greatest today because I'm gonna have 10 instances that prove that I'm not.
Sure.
Like how do I go through that?
And yeah, you kind of look at it's almost like when you see like stupid people, like, and I mean this clinically, like people who are just dumb, and you're like, that must be kind of blissful, you know?
They don't know. You don't know.
Yeah, well, or
ignorance is bliss.
Yeah, exactly. And just like a little bit of that's healthy, I guess, you know? So
yeah, I think and then looking at that mental piece though too, I think it's so easy to gravitate towards the negative. So if you have that predisposition, those negatives start to stack heavier than the positives do.
Yeah.
And that was an exercise that one of the true like sports psychologists that I worked with briefly tried to have me list out all of these accomplishments, but even when I saw it on paper, it didn't weigh up against that internal critic that I had developed. Because I think in one sense it helped me stay motivated, that internal critic, where I have to keep training, I have to work harder, I have to do more because I'm not good enough yet, which was helpful in one sense. But I do some coaching on the side, and to what degree this message goes across to the kids I coach, I don't know, but I want them to know that there's training mode and there's game mode, and they are two very different, and I don't need you analyzing in the game and being hard on yourself. I need you to show up for the next play. Yeah. Whereas training, we can slow down and be a little bit more critical. Yeah. But I didn't have that switch. It was like, oh, that wasn't good enough. That was too close, and didn't have. I really maybe out of my career count on two hands the time I had fun.
What did feed you? Like what was the thing that made you perform the best?
When I look back at the games that I was most relaxed, it was just this sense of...
So is being relaxed on the soccer field, that's like the best you can be?
For me, for
all sports, actually. Yeah,
I had it explained that everyone has this scale that they're on of like 10 is, you know, you're fully maxed out, full adrenaline dump, 0, you're asleep, you know, you're not... And so where's that right level for me? I had the tendency of being a little bit too up, so I had to come down. And that, what brought me down was, I remember there was a couple times where, you know, parents were in stands at a college soccer game. I was like, no matter what, like, my family loves me, like, I'm okay, like, I'm bigger than this game. And I didn't build that up enough. It was spontaneous, and when it was there, it was great, but I couldn't generate it on my own.
Sure.
And then there was one game I remember, I played lights out my second year as a pro, and I just, like, for whatever reason, it clicked to me that all of the pressure was in my mind. Like, I made it up. It was all this internal dialogue, and it was completely self-generated. Like, there are those external things that are real. Like the coach expects a certain standard. There is a score line. There is a contract. All of that's real. But the pressure I was adding to that was made up in my mind.
Right.
But I had this lucid moment.
It all is. It's just a matter of like what pressure is beneficial is what it comes down to.
Right. Yeah. So I was able to let it all go, but then I didn't find a way to reintroduce like that healthy.
Okay. So sorry. So what factor like made you perform the best? Like just synthesize it like a one sentence.
I think when having fun.
Okay.
I was thinking that, like, in those games, when you felt like the most relaxed, or you felt like you look back and you said, "Oh, that was a great game," you were probably having more fun.
Yeah,
enjoying yourself.
I felt like whatever shot was coming, I'm like, it's okay, I'll deal with it. I'll figure it out. Whatever they throw at me, instead of my normal chatter was, oh, what if they catch me on this and I'm not ready, or I'm not X, Y, and Z ready for this thing, this possibility, and that wasn't fun. That was tight, and I was.
You know, there was something I saw recently that people will spend a lot of time thinking about all the possible negative scenarios and run those over and over in their head, every different way it could go wrong.
Yeah.
And we spend very, very little time thinking about all the ways it could go right.
Yeah.
And even as I say this, every single person I guarantee does this. I do this. We all do this. If you can... And I need to practice this myself, actually, is going through scenarios of how it's going to go right. Not like, and I think of this like before a competition, thinking of your game plan. If I do this, I do that. Yeah, that's great, of course. But like in the back of your mind, you're creeping in, oh, well, what if he gets a takedown? What if he does this? Or any scenario. It doesn't have to be jiu-jitsu related. It's just in life. All the negative possibilities. Think about, hey, this is a positive possibility that could happen from these situations. And we think, oh, that's not going to happen, so why do we even, stew on it? But that is how we make it happen, by thinking about, hey, this possibility could happen, so when the opportunity arises, I've already thought about how good this could go. Let's start jumping in that direction.
Yeah.
There's something like that.
And I didn't even do a good job of that this past weekend, even with knowing for this last competition, even having that in mind of like, I was trying to fix this, and my mind kept going to, well, what if you get hurt? What if you have to take time off of work? What if what if you get humiliated? Like, this dude is on top of you and just like silly mistake, and it's still, I think it's a process. I think it was better, but it's going to take doing it over and over.
Yeah, for sure. Let's get a quick cold plunge. Yeah, I think I'm ready for another break.
All right, so I got 2 questions. Well, maybe a statement and then a question. Yeah, 2 questions. So I'm just going to ask the questions and then I'm going to go into something.
Yeah.
And then we'll circle back to it. So what the question, I just don't want to forget it, is I'm curious, like, because I never played team sports, always wrestling, and then now I'm doing jiu-jitsu. So the question is like, what are the big differences between team sports and like those dynamics mentally compared to competing in jiu-jitsu, which is like just you, right? Okay, so that said, circling back to what we were talking about earlier, and this stuff is all probably very personal, but I always perform my best when like I felt like an underdog and like people didn't believe in me.
Yeah.
I loved that. Like, I actually struggled more when like a couple, like my junior and senior, I was always like top 8 and like ranked. Sometimes I think as high as like 4, and like I found it harder, or I was just less motivated and excited. Mentally, I could tell like not performing my best when I felt like I should be beating these guys versus like I love feeding off of like when like I like, there's a specific instance actually at like one of the Big Ten tournaments. I got hurt or something, and like I was in the medal round, and like my coach was like, I was going against this guy he beat me the first match. He kind of just like caught me, it was like a weird it was a really weird match, and like my coach was like, basically like, this guy's gonna beat you, you don't even have to go out there, like you're gonna medal, you'll get to nationals, like whatever. And like I just was like, fuck you, dude. Like, I'm gonna go out there and like you know what I'm saying, like I loved that in a way. Like because I didn't like it, but it made me, want to compete harder, like people not believing in me in that very specific way. So, and I think it's like, cause with my wrestling career, it was always a slow build. Like I started and I was never that great. And like, it just kind of like built up into it, you know what I'm saying? So like for most of my career, I was more or less an underdog. As far as like being favored, right? So like I personally feel like I enjoyed that. Like that's what gives me motivation. Actually, like fucking haters, really. Like I like that. Yeah. So, but anyway, so get back to you and like the difference in competing on a team like high level versus one-on-one jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. There's pros and cons to both. I'm the opposite. I've only been team sports my entire life, and so I was like, oh man, if I could only just be a solo athlete and just like have to worry about myself, I really wanted to do that, and so it has been fun to do that. You kind of go out there and it's solely you, right? Like your work. Like I was this past weekend, I was super tired for my last match, and it's like there's nowhere to run, there's nowhere to hide. Like you have one match left. Go out there, do like it's gonna hurt, it's gonna it's gonna burn, like, but struggle through it and figure it out. But
hell yeah.
So there are pros and cons to having a team. You have guys that are there with you. It's easier to sometimes be motivated when you have your team and you can everyone's
on the ass.
And you go out and do those things. You kind of win and lose as a team, and you have that camaraderie. For me, I was always super worried about letting my teammates down, though, so I put extra pressure. So someone made a mistake. Sometimes it was tough to deal with it, especially if it cost us something important. But more often than not, I understood, like, we're human. Like, we make mistakes. Like, I don't want you to beat yourself up about it. Like, go home and forget about it. But I couldn't extend that to myself when I made mistakes. So it's nice when everyone's there and the team is moving in a good direction and the culture is good and everyone's kind of on the same page. It can be really rough when the locker room's divided, when things aren't going well. There's guys that are kind of cutting corners and not supporting the team in that way, and playing time's limited, right? Like not everyone gets to play, so there are those guys that don't.
Kind of feels like soccer games are too long, in my opinion. But go ahead. Too much time.
It's funny. I can't pick now after playing it though. I can't picture a shorter game, but it's a long game. It's an hour and a half of playing time. It is long, but I now getting into being a kind of a solo athlete. Like you have the gym, and especially when there's a lot of competitors, and we're trying to. I don't know exactly how it works, but get the school points at a competition, like we're kind of all on the same page for that. But as far as you're on the mat, it's just yourself, so it is freeing, like in the sense that I'm not going to let anyone else down. Like I mean, you sometimes worry about like your your coach or your other teammates, but when it comes down to it, there is a little bit less pressure of like it's just you know.
Well, and the thing to remember about that too is that I don't want to say nobody cares, because they'll be very happy for you in your success, but like as far as like any failures you have, like nobody it's not.
And I try to remember
nobody's falling asleep at night going, fucking Charlie sucks, dude. God damn it.
Lost
ruined my life.
You know what I mean?
And even like the team points thing, like it's cool. It'd be cool to get it, but it's not a big deal if you don't. It'd be nice, but it's just a cherry on top kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. It is. And I try to remember the kind of the man in the arena speech of just like it's. To me, I was so nervous going into the weekend, but I was like, it's a win to just show up, have a good time, and walk off this mat healthy.
Yeah,
like that to me was where I tried to take the victories from. And again, now I'm trying not to like analyze the film too hard and pick things apart. I'm going to take what I need to learn from it and move on. But it is one of those things where it's just like you need to just being brave enough to show up sometimes is the true victory.
Yeah, and you went out and got gold and silver, so nice work.
And that was
a little bonus.
Again, the cherry on top, right?
Yeah, congrats, man.
But in the loss, though, like you said, analyzing the footage, like those, I like I have the video of all of my matches that I save, and I'll go back and watch those just because it's kind of fun to see how I've grown and what I've gotten different, but also how I've lost and look and be like, okay, I should have done this differently. I should have done that. That's where my biggest growth was, is seeing what things I did wrong and how I should, learn from that. And not like to beat myself up. I'm like, whatever, I lost. I don't really care that much. There was one competition I was really pissed at myself, but since then I'm like, it's whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I was texting Billy before. I was like, yeah, I'm kind of nervous tomorrow. He's like, dude, just relax. We're middle-aged guys competing for a $5 piece of plastic or metal.
Right,
They don't take it too seriously. Like, go have fun. Like, go learn. Like, you'll be back in the gym after.
Yeah.
Same stuff.
It's fun to be that nervous though, like, because like most things in life don't give you that kind of rush. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, not that that's like a consolation as far as like gonna make you feel better in the moment, as far as like performing, but it is kind of cool that this gives us that jolt, because it's a gift. And I mean, we're just lucky to be able to do this, to be honest. Like, could be a lot worse.
To have the time and the resources and physical ability to be able to do it, like I don't take that for granted. And especially I work as firefighter out in Sun City, and I see the later stage of life for a lot of people, and I think most people there would trade just about anything to be back in their 30s, and or 20, whatever the age is that you want to insert. You always would want to go back, and so I am trying to enjoy it while it's here, and not wish it away and say, oh, when I'm X, Y, and Z belt and this, You guys mentioned it too, like enjoying the journey along the way. Like, this is the fun part,
and that's a big part of why we're doing this too, so we can all look back and talk and see, like, when we were 10 episodes, 20 episodes in, talking to all these people and hearing about their journey and hearing about our journey as we go through it. We want to enjoy it as we are and going through it, and be able to look back and say, hey, look where we were.
And celebrate,
enjoy it, and
all the belts along the way. It's not like life is magically better at black belt. Like, your jiu-jitsu is going to be better once you get there, but like we can celebrate every step along the way, and it's still an accomplishment.
Well, and I get that feeling, like, that I think you said, like, you didn't ever feel, even writing down or looking at all your accomplishments, like, you don't feel like that special about it. I completely 100% understand and feel that. Like, even when I graduated college, like, family members and friends are all like, congratulations, and I'm just like, yeah, it's whatever, it's college, like, it's not a big deal. And I've kind of felt the same way in high school. It's like, so what, I graduated, everybody should be graduating high school. Like, this isn't a big deal to me. Like, I didn't allow myself to appreciate what I had done. I guess I didn't think it was that amazing to me.
Probably a good thing, a healthy mindset, I mean.
I guess, but I mean, there's some appreciation and gratitude for things that I probably didn't do well. And realizing now, like, once you get that next stripe or that next belt, it does feel differently. And I'm like, oh, I earned this. It's a definitely different feeling. Like, I felt better getting my blue belt than I did graduating college. Just because, like, whatever, But getting the blue, I was like, I earned this. And it's, I don't know. It's cool to be able to experience that later in life. There's not many people that have those kind of moments. And that's another one of the beautiful things of jiu-jitsu is the progression, feeling it, and actually seeing that belt tied around your waist. You're like, hell yeah, this wasn't given to me. This was earned over, sweat, probably some blood, maybe some tears. We don't need to talk about that.
There's a lot of hours on the mat that go into getting each one. Like, there's no shortcuts to it. And I think it's both, right? Like, I think it's being able to appreciate and try and savor a little bit of that accomplishment, and then also that mindset too of, okay, I'm gonna move on, like, now it's on to the next, but I don't want to miss out on some of the joy that I could have had if I just, like, slowed down for just a second and appreciated it, because I'm gonna move on anyway, right? Like, so I think that's definitely what I'm trying to, both in jiu-jitsu and life, trying to do here at this point.
For sure. Well, how'd you get into jiu-jitsu? What drew you to Grey Wolf?
Or
formerly Grey Wolf.
I mean, just like most people, heard about it throughout podcasts, and it certainly exploded in the pop culture. Everyone was talking about it, and not that it's a fad. It just became more prevalent, and so I'd always wondered, like, what would happen if I was in some kind of fight or confrontation or something, and with playing soccer, I didn't have any grappling or wrestling background, and I didn't know anything, and so couldn't do it while I was playing, and then eventually, it's so silly. One of my coworkers who had trained quite a bit had said something, made a joke. I'm like, oh yeah, you could. They were talking about like jokingly like giving me a tattoo. I'm like, yeah, if you could hold me down. And he had trained a bit. Like he's pretty solid sambo and jiu-jitsu. And he's like, oh, you don't know how close you just walked to the edge of your life right there with that statement. And I was like, oh yeah, I really don't know anything. And with our job, occasionally we have patients that are a little bit disgruntled. Yeah. And
disgruntled.
it is.
That's a good word.
Sweet man.
Yeah, some that are not having their best day. But they, and this is super rare. It's super rare. Never had to really use anything on a patient. But it was just a bit of a mindset of like, I don't really know how to handle myself in a real world situation. Like, let's go learn and see what this is all about.
Yeah.
Everyone should, whether they have your job or not, to be honest. Like, it just changes the way you walk around, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's humbling because then you look at some of these people at competition or in class and you see they are absolute savages, and you should not judge a book by a cover because you do not know what they are capable of. And so it's very humbling.
Some of the scariest wrestlers have like the most dad bods ever imaginable, and they will just fucking drop you on your head so fast, you know?
I believe it.
Pudgy, kind of good legs, but they're midsection.
Unassuming.
Yeah, very unassuming, but just fucking scary people.
Yeah. You learn real quick how few people actually know how to handle themselves.
Yeah.
And once you start doing it, even more so when somebody who's like Mateus, who's 150, 160 pounds, whatever he is, and can just absolutely handle you, and he's, you know, you got 100 pounds on him. It's crazy.
Yeah, and he doesn't even look like he's trying that hard.
Nope,
like he's
not
just
at all.
flowing through it, and it's whatever.
He's breathing through one nostril the whole time.
Yeah.
He's writing poetry while he's
he's thinking about something else.
choking you out.
Yeah, it's humbling and you start to realize very quickly, you're like, oh, I'm gonna just muscle through this round, and then next thing you know, you're caught, and you're like, okay, there's not muscling through someone who's better technique. Like, I gotta sit down and learn now.
Yep,
dude, it's crazy how that works, but it's awesome. It's the most interesting part about jiu-jitsu for sure.
Absolutely.
What got you to Grey Wolf though? Did you just nearby or?
Yeah, I'm right across 40th, 37th, and Thunderbird, and so I was one of my battalion chiefs goes out to DeBoa and Surprise, so he took me for first day. We went. They do 10-round Mondays.
DeBoa's good.
DeBoa's awesome. I actually saw the Professor Andrew. He taught that first class, and I saw him at competition. I'm like, hey, I don't know if you're remembering, but you brought me in. I stuck with it. Thank you. It was, I love it. It's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I went there. Was like, this is so cool. I love it. This is awesome. So I sent through my battalion chief, sent Andrew a list of the schools around me. He's like, yeah, you got a lot of good schools. Like, all of them are good culture. I'd recommend. And he threw Grey Wolf out there at the top. I'm like, sweet, this is the closest. Like, let's go see.
Yeah.
Walk in day one to Brendan's class, but Vinny was kind of guest teaching. He had one of his privates there, and kind of a dual taught class. So those two's energy together.
Oh yeah.
They welcomed me in. Like, how old are you? I'm like 32, or maybe I was 31 at the point at that time. 32, and they're just like, that's when I started. They were just like, they hyped me up. Like, it wasn't too late. Like, this is awesome. Like, you're at the right place. You're at the right time. Like, it's all good. Like, welcome in. And it was kind
like
of
every good cult, you know. You gotta be very charismatic.
Everyone's got their sales pitch down.
Well, we have very charismatic coaches, which is fun. You know?
It is.
Yeah, that's cool that Andrew did that as well, though, to recommend. I mean, they're awesome. They're the sweetest people. Andrew and Leslie run that gym, and they got some of their coaches, like Jarrell and Lexi, are out there. That used to be some of our coaches. They're amazing. DeBoa is a great school.
I had a great time. They treated me very well, and so I saw that culture of like, take care of each other, work hard, but like. He has a little bit of like a philosophical reflection beginning or end of class, or at least he did that day. I was like, oh cool, we're with people that are looking for self-improvement, and jiu-jitsu happens to be the vessel for all of us to come do that. And so I was like, okay. And when he said the culture was similar over at Grey Wolf, I was like, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I
feel like ours is the funkiest though that I've seen. Again, very limited. Like, but like just much. Like if you look at all of our coaches and like how funky each one of them is in their own own way, it's pretty great.
Everyone has their own personality, and you've seen by the variety of the animals that they have representing them up on the wall too. It's a pretty diverse cast.
Well, that's what I like too, because it's not like a uniformed, like, you know, you have to do this, and like everybody's just doing their own thing, and like and Kabe said this to me early on, like when I was doing those wrestling classes. I was like, hey, is there anything I shouldn't be posting about, or what, you know? He's like, just be yourself, dude. You know. And obviously that was terrible advice, Kabe, because nobody showed up in class. But yeah, you know, but that, you know, part of giving up that wrestling class, I lived my life by The Office, you know, Creed Bratton. You make more money as a cult leader, but you have more fun as a follower. I'm just a student, baby.
Now.
And truly, like, I'm a way better student than I am a coach or
I don't know about that. I feel like I was picking up quite a bit from you, so I wouldn't sell yourself short.
Well, I mean, internally, I enjoy it more. Let's say that, and I think that's a huge part of being a successful coach is you have to actually enjoy it on a deep level. And like, I prefer at this stage to just be a student, you know. So yeah.
Well, you can get back to coaching one day when you're a brown and black belt.
I don't think that'll take long.
I don't know.
No, it won't take long at all.
But yeah, dude. So what else is cooking? You're gonna do because white belts can't do Master Worlds.
No Master Worlds for white belts.
When's the next belt promotion then?
May.
I don't know.
Would you do Master Worlds if you had a blue belt?
Yeah, and it's going to depend on work.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Whoever's listening, get this guy a blue belt.
I would definitely try, but a lot of it's going to line up with work. And we have certain restrictions with how many people are on vacation at a certain time, and the cost of getting up there and everything. And
it is Labor Day, so it's a big
I already
weekend.
have plans. So shoot, I'm already booked up for it. So not this year, but yes, I do want to do it. I do want to do it.
Sandbag him then.
Yeah.
For all I care.
Well, you just got done competing last weekend, so we talked a little bit about that. You got gold and silver, nice work. Gi and no gi.
Gi and no gi. That was a long day.
Yeah, that's
5
a savage
matches.
move.
Yeah. And it's funny, I have this mindset, you know, several months out where I'm like, I'll do this. 5 matches, that doesn't sound that bad.
Yeah.
I show up day of after cutting weight, and I'm like, why did I do this? I'm never doing this again. And now I'm going to forget the pain in the me time. And the next tournament, I'm going to sign up for both of them and do it all over and say, what was I doing?
That's good, dude. That's healthy, though. Yeah, because, like, most of us wouldn't, and, like, I've said this before, like, I would have quit wrestling 1,000 times if anybody had ever let me. But, like, luckily I had, like, all the people in my life that were just, like, that was just not an option.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, and it's harder now because, like, we don't have those coaches or mentors that aren't, like, our fathers aren't on our backs anymore, you know? So we have to jump in there and, like, make ourselves do that kind of shit where it's, like, most people are going to take the easy route out. They're not going to do the 5 matches because it's painful as hell. But, like, look how much fun it is, dude. I mean, fuck the pain and, like, all of it. You've
already forgot about it.
Yeah, exactly. I forgot about it. And
you're alive. You're here.
The pride, just the healthy sense of just pride and fun that was after it.
Yeah.
That relief was unmatched. You're right. There are limited avenues as an adult to find that, and so that was fun to feel that.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, if you do World League June 21st, you won't have to cut as bad because you can weigh in the morning.
That would be
nice. Then rehydrate, get some food before your matches.
I'd be so much better off.
It's way better. Oh my god, it's so much better. Yeah, I've decided to stop cutting weight and just at my weight. That's where I need to be. I just need to be at that weight in my normal time or normal life. I was cutting down to 168 for all of my matches up until blue belt, and it was taxing for sure.
It is.
Especially, like, I mean, as I got stronger.
Yeah, and when you go step on the mat.
Yep. So, all right, Luke's taking another cold plunge. Let's do another quick one, and then we'll come back in and wrap it up.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
Yeah, the job's hard enough, right? You gotta deal with the summer heat.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't even. We'll have to have you back on another day, and I mean, we had so much good stuff to talk about. We didn't even scratch your firefighting career, but we'll get into that another day.
Absolutely.
Because you guys have cooked me.
Yeah, this was a good little run.
That was good.
On brand. the weakest sauna here.
I think you're the first one to acknowledge it, because I was sitting here being like, oh yeah, it's definitely catching up to me, and then I'm like, okay, good, Luke's getting up. We can get up and go.
I think the only person I've tapped out is Drew Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah.
He's the only guy I've outlasted.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's before we head out, let's hit those rocks with some
Thank you,
some
Dana.
water.
You guys
Let me put on my
Yeah, do a
duck
full scoop.
cap that that RB
Get
left
all
here.
over all the rocks. Oh, you're good. Go ahead.
Yeah, go for it. Oh yeah.
That's a good one.
Ooh, yeah, there it is.
Oh yeah.
Any cuts you have will be exposed. Boom.
All right.
I
Well,
wish I had the date for the next podcast. I'll announce it, but the next Choke Vinny, you got to make it to that,
I
dude.
want to.
yeah.
Dude, I haven't laughed that hard in a long time. And I was very proud and impressed with everybody that did it. Like I was pleasantly surprised. People did super well.
Yeah, it was fun.
Arun was funny as fuck. His face, dude. He has like a natural ability, I think, for like stand up. He's kind of looking like Aziz Ansari, like his eyes are popping as he's telling the jokes and stuff. It was great.
It's probably fun to see that side of people too, because we we don't see that side in class, and so that's some good camaraderie.
We do a little bit in the morning classes. Like those guys they're always fucking with each other.
Yeah.
But RB murdered it.
Lance did
really well. I knew Lance was gonna do well. He's such a shit talker.
Yeah.
Drew sucked. He was the worst. Who else?
Was Joel there?
It?
Joel was there.
Dana would have bombed, but I saved him.
Yeah, he did. And I got called first, so that was good.
But
It's
you got a big applause, bro.
Yeah, I did. Thanks for the jokes. Thanks for the jokes.
Great.
Yeah.
Who else? Judy did really well. Off the cuff too, I think. I think it
was off the cuff.
Yeah.
She just decided to start roasting everybody.
It was more honestly her showmanship. Like what she said, it was funny, but it like wasn't as good as like RB had the best, probably like for sure the best roast. He thought about him though, versus like Judy was just like, she was walking around like her, like she was like sassy. And it was hilarious. Dude. It was so good. Did Josh, what did Josh do?
I don't remember. I'll never forget. I'll never forget Dennis's though. His poem.
Yeah, the poem.
The poem was good. That was actually great.
Very good. Dude, yeah. That was on brand with his cerebral abilities. Yeah, he did this super long poem that like had everybody and more in it. Like it was just, and it went from one person to the next.
That's cool.
Yeah,
I hope
solid.
he should. We need to get that. We need to have him like do it recorded. It was funny as hell.
Yeah, it was good.
We'll
have to have him on.
We could play it while we're doing jiu-jitsu. We haven't had Dennis on yet.
No, we should have Dennis on. Yeah,
absolutely. Dude, it was a good time.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about buying a spotlight for it.
You're gonna buy a spotlight?
Yeah. That'd be a good move. Turn the
that'd
lights
be great.
on.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Get that
I want to turn it into like a show. Dude. Yeah, for sure, and record it.
Yeah, we gotta record it.
Yeah. Just make it better, make it a whole thing,
Yeah, it sounded like a blast. I want to be there for the next one.
It was unreal funny.
Yeah, we'll get a lot of people, I'm sure.
Yeah, boom. All right, dude. Well, thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me,
guys.
Brother. You're a savage jiu-jitsu guy and an American hero out there saving lives on the front lines. But yeah, anything?
No, thank you guys for having me on.
Absolutely.
It's been fun joining in the morning on Tuesday, Thursday. So I'm excited to keep that going for a bit. Baby. And thank you guys for having me.
Oh yeah. All right, we'll see you around.
Boom.
Thanks, man.
Later, everybody. Bye.
Peace.